Hey guys, my name is Dave, and in this video, we're going to find out how one of the biggest churches in the world has been doing social media during a pandemic and what they've got planned for after the pandemic. Check this out. If this is your first time on my channel, I especially want to welcome you. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. Well, for this video, I got to speak with Bo Coffrin, who is a social media director at Life Church in Oklahoma, one of the biggest churches in the world. And I specifically talked with him about how they've been handling their social media platforms during the COVID-19 pandemic and what they've got planned for after the pandemic. So check this out. Here he is, Bo. How are you, man?
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me on. I'm doing well. Staying home,
Dude.
staying healthy.
So my first question for you out of the gate has to be, have you showered during the past 6 weeks?
Every once in a while, but no haircut yet. I have, there's none. It's been hat day every day for me. I don't have cool hair like you, so.
Tell me about it. You know, I haven't showered if I'm doing an Instagram live or something live with a hat on. That's just how it goes lately. Man, so you're holding up well?
Yeah. I'm an introvert, so I'm like, meh, it's fine.
I know you're an introvert, so I'm so glad that you decided to get on and do this with me. I'm like seriously honored that you would do that. Tell everybody who's watching what your role is at Life Church.
Yeah, so I lead social media for all of Life Church. So our team there, my official really long title that I never use is Central Team Leader of Social Media. So basically we're over it's official now. Now it sounds really official and big time, huh, Dave?
It sure does.
Yeah, and so my team, we just lead mainly the global social media, and then we talk to campuses about their social media, and I get to hang out with cool people like you.
Well, man, no, it's actually the opposite way around. I literally tell people, when people say, hey, what is it you do at North Point? I say, I do at North Point really just what Bo does at Life Church. I'm just trying to live up to you and come out from under your shadow to a certain extent. Hey, before I ask you a couple of social media questions specifically, where are you? It looks like you're in the bathroom. Or is that a shower behind you?
I should have closed the door. I'm in my bedroom. This is my home office now because we do have a home office here. But I have 3 kids, and of course they've all been home for months. And so it's actually louder in our home office than it is in our bedroom. So I set up a desk and computer and stuff in my bedroom.
That's awesome. For those of you who are watching who follow me, I want to encourage you right now to go across and follow Bo. His Instagram handle is Lunchbox Dad. And I got to say, he does some of the I want to say the only, but it's also the best lunchbox artwork that I've ever seen. He does these. Is it? What do you use? Salt, pepper? What is it that you use to make those pictures of Harry Potter and things?
Oh, for that's sugar sprinkles.
Sugar sprinkles. So go and check him out. Just for those reasons alone, you should follow him. Plus, he's just a great guy and sets a really good example as a dad and a really good example as a husband as well. But specifically today, man, I want to talk to you about social media during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. A church like yours is a leader in the world when it comes to social media. Is there anything that you guys are doing differently since the lockdown hit?
Yeah, so I think what we found out when this whole thing started, and we were looking at, because we're kind of planners, and so like we had our plan till Easter and kind of like what we were going to do there, and kind of all laid out, and then we had stuff scheduled, and we realized none of that is relevant anymore.
Yeah.
And so just being able to change on the fly, and really what we did was we went and looked at, okay, what are people feeling? What are their felt needs right now? And what do they actually need to be ministered to on social media? And so we kind of pivoted and changed all our content to be focused right around that. We went through all our old content to see what our senior pastor, Craig Rochelle, what he had talked about in the past on topics like hope, anxiety, fear, and we just started looking at all those needs out there like that. And I think that was a big one. And then live video. just like we're doing right now, is
Yeah.
huge. So
Huge.
yeah, and not just like sermons, right? And weekend services. Um, what we have been talking about with our campus leaders quite a bit is just how much of a difference their Facebook lives have been making.
Yeah.
And just looking at, we go through the data together and just look at, and the feedback too, just like the stories coming in from people in our church of, okay, I knew my pastor on stage before to a
Yeah.
certain extent, but I feel like I personally know him now because he's going live in his living room.
Yeah.
And just the difference that has made for people. And
Yeah.
even as there's talks about opening back up and things like that, we've even seen comments like, "Hey, that's fantastic, but please, we don't want to lose these live videos during the week."
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. I want to just encourage you, dude. Everything I'm seeing you guys produce is to its normal excellent level, but you guys have really started to set a different bar when it comes to social media from the church world in a pandemic during a lockdown. But also, I just want to encourage you with this. The church doesn't have to reopen because it was never closed. So, I want to shift your language a little bit around that.
When I say close, I mean like the physical doors of the church.
I know what you mean. The
Yeah.
building was closed. The church wasn't. Can I
But
get an amen?
the church has never been the building, Dave.
Exactly. The church is not a place you go. It's something that you are.
Yes.
I once heard somebody very smart say, hey, if you're watching this and you've got a question, make sure for Bo or for me about social media, make sure you leave it in the comments so we can ask it. Megan says, speak of fear. What are your favorite go-to verses to give you a sense of hope and comfort? Oh, we're getting some Bible drill questions here. Megan, got nothing to do with social media, but I think Bo's going to answer it anyway. Since so close, his office is so close to the YouVersion office, which really is the Bible. So let's talk about that.
Really, yes. The Bible YouVersion. By the way, plug YouVersion has tons of great Bible plans right now on this topic. But my go-to is always, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. And so that's the one that just comes to my mind immediately, and that's always brought me a lot of comfort during this time.
Totally. That's good. I love fear not, obviously. That's a well-known Bible verse. But, I once heard that somebody had posted on social media that the phrase fear not appeared 365 times in scripture, which is a nice idea that there's a fear not for every day of the year, but it actually doesn't. It's only about 130 different times, but the concept of fearing not is meant to permeate our whole life. So that's probably where I would lead towards. Hey, we did get a social media question. Hayden Rayford. Hayden, how are you today? I hope you're doing well, mate. He says, Bo, we know that we should be doing Insta, Facebook, and Twitter, but how much would you advise the church leaning into LinkedIn? First of all, I want to answer that in one quick way. Anybody who calls it Insta is no longer a friend of mine. It's probably one of those trigger phrases for me. I've got a couple of other ones, but Hayden, let's talk about the use of Insta. So Bo, LinkedIn. How much does Life Church lean into LinkedIn?
Okay, let me back up a minute because I think there's a bigger question here, and that's how many platforms should the church actually be on?
Hang on, before you get into that, that's a great question. My wife has just left a comment and said, dinner's ready in 20 minutes. Hashtag, this is 2020 marriage. It's so true. Sorry, keep going. I just wanted to shout out.
What are you having for dinner? You can't leave us hanging like that.
I think we're having Red Robin, quite honestly.
Dave, there's a restaurant called Outback that...
I'm literally about to hang up. Go answer that question about LinkedIn. And you were talking about the amount of platforms we're on.
Yeah. So my mind goes to how many can we do well? Because you could be on every platform out there, but how many can you do well? And I think that's what it comes down to. And only you can answer that for your church. Yeah. And so I would look at where you're seeing the most momentum at first and where you're seeing the most growth, and put most of your time into those platforms. And I think that if you feel like your audience can be on LinkedIn, those people you're trying to reach can be on LinkedIn, great, go for it. Honestly, we have a LinkedIn channel for Pastor Craig, and we have one for the church. It's kind of two different things. We lean into Pastor Craig's leadership podcast to put stuff on there for LinkedIn. But honestly, we are putting most of our momentum right now. We're seeing most of our growth, putting most of our time into Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk to you about TikTok actually, because you were really one of the first. You personally were one of the first church social media people who were really encouraging people to get onto TikTok, and even Life Church was one of the first churches. And I know for us, I remember being asked one time, to your point that you just made, hey, should we be on TikTok? Should we be posting on TikTok? And my answer at the time, and it would stand by this, to your point, hey, once you're getting Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter going well, yeah, then think about adopting another platform. So that was my first part of the answer. Mm-hmm. But you got a lot of pushback specifically around the idea of TikTok. So what are you guys posting to TikTok right now?
So we have a couple different TikTok accounts for Life Church. We have our main global Life Church account, and we've tried different things. It's all an experiment right now. And so that's what I would encourage you with. Like, the bar is so low to get on TikTok, because if you have some video content or you have some creative volunteers in your church, all you need is what we're talking on right now, is the phone, because most TikTok videos are done on the phone. And so that's all you need. But we're putting sermon videos up. We've tried other things as well, sometimes some different stuff. We try and stay away from promotional stuff on TikTok, because it just doesn't land well. And it's not really about that. It's more about ministry. Right there where it's at. And then Pastor Craig has TikTok where he does some funny dances with his family and all sorts of like silly, funny things, as well as sermon videos and stuff. So it's a big mix, which is great. And so then our newest, we have one for our Switch youth group account, but our newest one too, and they're on YouTube as well, is the Loop Show, which is like our 5th, 6th grade content. And it's really for a little bit older than that. Like that's what we're seeing, is the audiences on YouTube and TikTok is really relating to this content on there, but they're a bit older, which is totally great. It's some of it's fun or funny or like food challenges or something like that, but it's also spiritual content and spiritual growth for younger students.
So give it a plug. How can people follow Life Church on TikTok? What's the account name?
So at Life Church, at Craig Rochelle, at LC Switch, and at the Loop Show.
And anybody who's watching, I want to encourage you to put your TikTok handle into the comment section so we can go back and follow you. Hayden, I know that you've got a TikTok account. I want to see it. I've got a TikTok account as well. AussieDave is where you can find that. I actually posted something today because always in the back of my head, Bo, is you telling me, Dave, when are you going to get back on TikTok? When are you going to get? And so I posted something actually today. And you're right, the bar is very low, because the way their algorithm works, you can get a huge amount of views with something that on Instagram might only get a couple of hundred likes. You can get thousands and thousands of views, right?
So on I'll give you an example for a recent video that I posted on my Lunchbox Dad TikTok. I think it's up to like 250 or 300,000 views. Same video, well, almost the same video, because I do like voiceovers on TikTok and stuff. And then for Facebook, it's more titles, because we know that for Facebook and Instagram, people don't turn on the volume as much. And so they're consuming most of their video content on Facebook and Instagram with the sound off. And so I'll do more writing on the screen. But basically the same video got like 150 views on my Facebook channel.
Yeah.
Like 300,000 on my TikTok channel.
Yeah. Dude, see, I've had the same experience. A video that I posted to my YouTube channel, did pretty well. It got like 1,000 views, which is pretty good. But then that same video on TikTok is up around 650,000 views. Like it's just crazy. But you said something super. For you, it was just a passing thing, but I think there would be a lot of church social media people who are either watching now or who will watch later when I post this to my stories. You just said it in passing. Instagram and Facebook, people watch without the volume up, but on
Mhm.
TikTok, they watch with the volume up. So that's a truth. I know that to be true. How do you guys navigate that? Like, what are you posting to, how do you post to Instagram that's different to the way that you post to TikTok as a result of the way each platform works?
So yeah, that can get a little bit tricky depending on how much time you have on your hands, because we like our, let's just say a typical video might be a sermon clip. That's something that's pretty
Yep.
universal to a lot of churches. We like our sermon clips on Instagram to be over a minute, even if it's a minute and 1 second, and we like it to be vertical so that we can post it to IGTV with that very powerful preview to the main feed, which
Yep.
then you can share to your stories as well. And so
Yep.
it's just it's so powerful how they have that set up. And so for TikTok, it needs to be under a minute. And so we found that, I mean, it depends. Great content is great content. But
Yep.
usually around 40, 45 seconds, you're after that, you're getting a little bit long. So we're having to cut down some of the sermon clips, or what we'll do is sometimes we'll have sermon clips that are Instagram story length, that they could be 15 seconds, 30 seconds. And
Yep.
we found that those are great also.
That's awesome. So, Bo, from your seat, how have you seen the capital C Church change the way that this is very generalized, but in general, how has the capital C Church switched from using social media pre-COVID-19 to during COVID-19, and then what would you want to see them to either continue to do or switch up when life after lockdown begins?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so I think that the interesting thing to watch has been how there's are no longer physical events to promote. And so you can't rely on that. And we never should have been relying on that anyway. I know for me, that could be like a fallback, or when I'm busy, it's like, oh, just put up a promotion or a graphic. We got to promote this event. When social media was never meant to be promotional. It was meant to be transformational and ministry. And so that's what I love seeing during this time, is churches get creative in connecting with their audience and ministering to people where they're at. And so, and then seeing the power, so many people coming to Christ because of that, which has been amazing around the world. We've seen that with Church Online, with churches using Church Online platform all around the world. And so that's been fantastic. And so from that, what I'd love to see moving forward, from our church specifically, I can only talk for our church, is that I'd love to see us do really well when the physical locations open back up. Do what we know works at a physical campus meeting in person, keep doing that well, but marry it with what we've learned over the last number of months, does really well in reaching people digitally, and not forgetting about what's happened, because we don't want to go back to normal. We want to move forward. We want to be better than that. We want to put all the best stuff together and move forward with that.
Yeah, that's good. One of the things that I've seen, Bo, you and I have been mates for quite a few years now, and we've always talked about this, but I've loved seeing the capital C Church move from using social media to invite people to events to using social media to invite people to conversations. I know you've got what's that great saying that you have around that idea of how to leverage social media for conversations?
Yeah, so we talk about around our office is that we don't want social media to be a billboard people drive by. We want it to be a coffee shop people hang out in, and just talking about the conversations that can happen. And so that's what our saying is around the office.
Yeah, that's what I've seen happening now, is that a lot more churches are leveraging it to create video content where people can watch. During the week, it's the place where people are coming to have prayer requests. I've seen so many pastors do Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube lives to invite people to come and have, to receive prayer. Those sorts of things. I mean, that's been fantastic. That's probably been my highlight. Hey,
don't sleep on TikTok lives either, Dave.
Sorry, say that again.
I said, don't sleep on TikTok lives either. Those are awesome. My new friend Grayson Bearden, he is check him out on TikTok. So.
Oh, okay. Well, what was his name again?
Grayson Bearden. He's killing it on TikTok. So yeah.
I will have a look at that. I actually got called out by a student today, when I posted my video, they called me out and said, "Hey, you need to do some TikTok live." So I'm 100% gonna get into that. Hey, one more thing, one more question for you. If a church came to you, or a church, or a pastor, or a church communications person came to you and said, "Hey, if I could only have 2 platforms that I use, social media, video, streaming, whatever platforms, I could only have 2. What 2 would you tell them they should be using?"
So only 2 social media platforms, just in general.
Yes.
And they're starting from the ground up, brand new.
Starting from the ground up, they only want to pour time and energy into 2 platforms, and I'm counting YouTube as a social media platform.
Okay, so I would say Facebook would be number 1.
Yep.
Because of all the power there with Facebook groups, and just Facebook owning everything, and just the whole ecosphere of everything that Facebook offers. So Facebook would be number 1, billions of people on there. Second one would be harder, Dave. That's a tough question. Boy, it's hard for me not to say, and I know you're gonna be mad at me, and you're gonna have a different opinion, but it's hard for me not to say Instagram at this point. And I know you want to say YouTube.
Dude, so you went Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why Instagram? I get Facebook. I totally get that. But why Instagram?
It's hard. Like, I mean, it's a toss-up for me because YouTube is so important. There's so many people on there as well. But there's just people generally, what we've seen is that people are on Instagram. I mean, that's just what it is. And so it's easy. Like, people might, in general, I'm saying, and I know that there's YouTube is powerful. There's so much on there. But in regards to what the average church can do, it's generally, there's not that margin, that equipment, that everything to go video all the time. And so some of that content that you're creating for Facebook, some of it can work in a certain respect on Instagram as well, because especially photos, graphics, things like that. And
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask everybody who's watching, whether you're watching live or if you're watching on demand later on, I want you to tell me in a comment what 2 platforms, if you could only have 2 platforms, what 2 platforms would you use? Because I want to do a little bit of a poll and see how many people agree with you. You said Facebook and Instagram, and you know I'm going to disagree with you.
I know. I said that knowing you were going to disagree.
But I am going to agree with you on one of the 2 platforms you chose. If it was me, I would be the 2 that I would choose, hands down, without a second thought, without even considering it. In a split second, I would say Instagram and YouTube.
No Facebook.
I wouldn't do Facebook.
Wow.
Here and see, I'm making the decision to choose YouTube over Facebook. That's a conscious decision that I'm making. And part of the reason is the argument that you made for Instagram is the reason why I would choose YouTube, because that's where people are. YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. It's the second most popular website in the world. It is more active users than Facebook. Like, there's so many things going for it from that point of view. And it's also the place where people go to find answers for everything from fixing their car to fixing their marriage. And so don't we as church practitioners, don't you want Pastor Craig's messages to be seen where people are going to find answers for things? I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying, I'm just expressing my argument. And having a look at the comments that are already coming in, dude, most people are agreeing with me. Instagram.
Okay, YouTube. But here's the argument then. If you're saying go where most people are, what's the largest social media platform out there right now?
Oh, debatable. Go. Hit me with it. I know
Facebook. It's Facebook.
How many billion users?
I think 2.5 billion now, right?
YouTube is 2.2. It's just behind, but way more active users. Way more active users.
I think
percentage-wise.
Okay. I think you also.
Wise.
So here's where it gets difficult, because you also have to look at where are the demographics of where you're at, and if it's.
You're making my argument for me.
No, I'm saying each church has to make that decision for themselves, and so they have to look like where are people? Where are the people in our community at? Not the people we have already, but the people
Yeah.
we're trying to reach, where are they at? And you go for
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and that is a great point, because the context of Oklahoma, where you're based, is different to the context of Georgia, where I'm based. And I know there's people watching right now from Guatemala. I know there's people watching right now live from Australia. So the context in each of those countries is going to be different. So I think it's probably, that's probably a really wise and a really good call by you, that you need to determine this based on where your church is located and who you're trying to reach in that local community, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Spain is watching. Chris from Spain is watching. Look at that. And he chose YouTube as well.
Can we also talk though about, we haven't talked about this yet, but in this decision making is also the power of Facebook ads. So if you paid social, there's a whole nother different area that figures into it, because if you're not on Facebook ads don't really make a difference, because you can't drive people to your Facebook page.
I see your Facebook ads, and I'm going to raise you Google ads through YouTube. And I'm going to also raise you the ability to monetize your videos, which could eventually pay for your staff position.
So why not Facebook and YouTube? See, that's where I like had an issue where I'm like, oh, is it Facebook and YouTube or Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, that is a really good question. I would love to know what Larry Roma in London thinks. Is it? Oh, Megan said Snapchat and TikTok.
Wow. That's
that indicates that she's a student, she's in student ministry world probably, which is okay, totally okay. It's all about demographics. To your point, context is everything, not just location context, but the context of the people you're trying to reach as well.
Yeah,
that's a really good point.
For sure.
Hey, I want to give you the opportunity to ask me a question.
Yes. So
what's the thing you've always wanted to know about AussieDave and his thinking on things? Why did I just refer to myself in the third person?
You did do that.
Yeah, I just want to apologize.
Here's what I want to know, because if people are following you out there, so I'm going to go kind of off base a little bit. People are following you. They know you're an amazing photographer. So I want to know, a church is just starting out on social media. They need a camera. No one owns it, but all of a sudden someone gives money for a camera. What camera does a church start out with to take pictures strictly for social media?
Okay, so
outside of a phone, you can't use iPhone or any phone.
Okay, are we also going to be using this camera to live stream services to do video?
I would say no, that they're just starting out with photography.
Okay, just starting out with photography, then I would be, and it's not allowed to be their phone, I would suggest, and I mean, the cameras that I shoot with, I always shoot with Fuji's, and there's a bunch of different reasons for that. Portability is the main part, and it's mirrorless, so that's a huge issue for me when it comes to photography. So I would be saying the Fuji X-T2, because that's currently what I use, because it also has the ability to shift into a 4K camera up to 60 frames per second. So, it can do more. Once you're ready to upgrade, once you're ready to start adding video to your game, it has the ability to do that as well.
So would you use that for YouTube videos also?
That's the only camera I use for all of my YouTube videos. When I'm doing a devotion on my YouTube channel, check it out, AussieDave Adamson on YouTube. I only use my X-T2s. That's the only camera that I use. When I go travel around the world, if I go to the Holy Land, the only camera I take with me is my Fuji X-T2s. I take two of them. One I have the ability to just grab out of my bag and take photos. The other one, I try to have it set up more for a video if I wanted to vlog or if I wanted to shoot some sort of video, something like that. So lightest cameras I've ever had as well, which when you're traveling is a huge deal. Plus, one of the things I love about it, which I think is underrated, is all the dials on it are actual dials. So you tune in your ISO, you tune in all of that sort of stuff through an actual dial. And so that hands-on nature of it means you can give it to a volunteer and they don't have to go searching through a menu to switch stuff out. Yeah. So it's just super easy from that point of view. But if you want to find out some of the gear that, like I try to recommend to churches based on budget, high-end, low-end, consumer, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you go to kit.co, kit.co/AussieDave, I've got a whole bunch of different kits there where I give, hey, if you're on a budget, here's what to use. If you're more prosumer, here's what to use. If you're a full-on professional, you've got unlimited budget, here's a kit for you to use as well. So you can find all that there.
Okay, here's a follow-up question. Let's say a church has, they buy like a kit camera, like let's just say a whatever, throw a Canon, Nikon,
Yep.
that's under $1,000. It comes with a that kit lens, right? What's the second lens that you recommend that they buy?
What is the kit lens that they got? Kit
Mm,
lenses are usually zoom type lenses.
yeah,
Usually, it's usually like a 16 to about a 24. It's in that sort of range.
right.
So then I would say the second lens you should own. I mean, first of all, as soon as you can, upgrade the kit lens because the kit lens is never good. But usually they're a wider lens. So I would be opting for something in the 70 to 200 range. So you've got a little bit more focal length. Because in a church setting, you can't always go up to the second or third row to take photos of your pastor while he's preaching and
Right.
the whole congregation's there, the whole community's there on a Sunday. So you have to be at the back of the room sort of shooting through people. So I think the second lens I got was a 70 to 200 so that I had that extra focal range to really bring the pastor into, view.
That's good.
Good question, dude. That's a great question.
Well, you are the master photographer, so I always like coming to you with my photography questions.
Okay, so I've got a personal question for you then. What lunchbox should I buy my kids? What's the best lunchbox out there? Are you a bento box person?
I am. Yeah, we're all bento box all the time, and so it depends. Once again, like cameras on your budget, right? And how often you want to replace stuff. So if you're going more like entry, like economy level. A lot of the lunch boxes you'll see on my social media are easy lunch boxes, which you can get on Amazon. I think it's like $13-14 for a pack of 4. And we use those all the time. And they'll generally last about probably a year or 2, depending on your kids and if they lose them or not, which they get lost all the time, obviously. So it's like 2 pieces. It's like a plastic lid and a plastic bottom. Now, if you want to go up and you're like, I want something that as long as my kid doesn't lose it, is going to last for like 4 years, which we've had these last for, they're still like, you can kick them around. They're awesome. They're stainless steel Planet boxes. And so that lid is attached and it'll go down and you'll lock it. And those are like indestructible. They're like bulletproof.
Wow. I like it. Have you got a kit for those? kit.co/.
I don't, but you can go to my Amazon store. So go to, it's actually linked in my link in bio. So go my link in bio to my Amazon store and they're both in there.
Okay, so hit us, Bo. Where can people connect with you personally if they just want to follow the great stuff that you put out personally, not Life Church related?
Yeah, not Life Church related is at LunchboxDad on all the socials. My blog is lunchboxdad.com.
YouTube channel?
YouTube is I don't post on it as much as I should, Dave, but that is Lunchbox Dad as well.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. So good to see you. I'm glad you're healthy and doing well. And I appreciate you jumping in on this. If people connect with me, if you want to DM me to find out more about Bo and connect with him, I'm more than happy to just pass you on and give out all of his details. So just direct message me. Dude, thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave.
Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you in person sometime in the near future.
Well, I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and then hit the little bell icon so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. And if this video was helpful for you, make sure you leave me a comment and tell me what specifically you liked, and share this video on social media. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.